Are you experiencing poor and low growth of snails in your snail farm? Then don't worry, in this video I'm actually going to be sharing with you 5 major ways that you can actually improve the growth of your snails and make them grow as big as you want them to grow. So these 5 major ways that I'm actually going to be sharing with you is not limited to any particular species of snails. Whether you are reading AA, whether you are reading AM, whichever species that you are into, this works absolutely fine. This particular 5 ways I'm actually going to be sharing will work perfectly fine for you. The truth is that whatever that is definitely must grow. And so if your snails are feeding well and then they are not growing, that means something is actually wrong somewhere. So that is why I'm actually going to be sharing with you these 5 ways I know practically I've done, and I know that it can actually improve the growth of your snails. For those of you that are coming across my channel for the first time, for those of you that have seen me for the very first time, you are very much welcome to Gozy's Snail Farm channel, and my name is Gozy. Do well to subscribe to this channel, like this video, click on the bell notification icon so that whenever I release an awesome video such as this, we are actually going to be notified. And also, if you have any question in the course of this video that regards to snail farming, please do well to drop it in the comment section, and I'm going to be there to reply to all your questions and give you a suitable answer based on my experience and knowledge in snail farming business. But for those of you that have actually subscribed before now, that have been coming to my channel to watch my videos, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Also do well to like this video, share this video, so that it's actually going to help a lot of people to remedy their problem of slow growth in snail farming business. So the very first way that you can actually improve the growth of your snail is by providing them a proper and balanced diet. Yes, so many persons don't actually pay attention to the food or the feed they actually give the snails. They don't pay attention to what they feed them. They just feed them whatever that comes across their mind, whatever they come across, or whatever that is available at the moment. That's what they feed the snails. But you must make sure that the snails are being fed with proper diet, as well as what? Balanced diet. There are a variety of food that you can actually feed the snails. I have talked about them in this my channel several times. So you have feed ranging from vegetables, fruits such as watermelon, cucumber, pawpaw, and then the leaves of pawpaw leaf, bitter leaf. You have cabbage, you have lettuce, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of them you can feed the snail. But what I'm saying is that you must make sure that you maintain a balanced diet. So what you actually need to do is to make sure that you don't constantly keep feeding the snails with one particular food, which is not actually a balanced diet. So you need to make sure that whenever you are feeding them, that the feed must be actually balanced. You must also make sure that these feed that you are giving them are also well rich in calcium. And that is why most often times the feed you give them does not contain as much calcium as possible. That's why we have provided well formulated calcium that you can give them, which is ranging from the eggshell you can use to formulate your own calcium and give them. You can use your bone meal, you can use your limestone. There is a lot of them sources of calcium that you can use to augment the calcium intake of the snails. So you must try as much as possible to give them a proper diet, and in that way you will see that your snails will eat balanced and proper meal. So the second way that you can actually improve the growth of your snails is by providing them a good and suitable habitat. You and I know that the snail needs and like a moist environment. So as such, you must try as much as possible to make sure that their environment is moist, so that they can actually feel at home when they are in such environment. So whether you are actually using a greenhouse system or you are using the intensive system whereby you construct your either wooden or block pens, you must also make sure that there is enough ventilation. This is one of the mistakes that a lot of persons do, and they will go and search their farm or their pen in a place that that is not actually well ventilated. So you must make sure that the place should be well ventilated, and then the environment must be moist as well. Then you should also pay very good attention to the temperature and humidity of the place where you are setting the pen. The snails thrive very well in a particular temperature and humidity range. So anything outside from that range means that it's actually going to affect them. There is a habitat that these snails thrive well. So when you try to get them out of those habitats, that simply means that you want them to die. So you must try as much as possible to maintain a good habitat for these snails. I visited a greenhouse before, where I was called for a consultation, and when I got to that place, I discovered that the habitat was nothing to write home about. Please, if you are using a greenhouse, if you're a greenhouse farmer, try as much as possible to make sure that a lot of vegetation has been planted in your greenhouse. Make sure that you have a lot of crops planted in your greenhouse, which will serve as a good habitat for the snails. Because in that way, they will see where they will hide, they will see where they will graze on, and even if the temperature becomes too high, they can see where they can go and hide. But when the crops that you have in your greenhouse is just scanty, one here, it doesn't even cover the surface of the soil where the snails are. So how do you actually think, how do you actually want the snails to thrive in such environment? It becomes what? A very difficult one. So please, if you are using a greenhouse, make sure that you make your environment very comfortable, very good habitat for them to thrive on once you introduce your snail. And at the same time, if you're also using the intensive system, you have block pens, you must make sure that it is well and good fashion and built, in the sense that you are not planting anything, but there must be good and enough mulching materials, and the soil must also be moist on its own, so that the environment will become what? Convenient. It will become very accommodating for the snails to thrive on. But whereas the habitat, the environment is actually not conducive for them, it affects the growth rate of the snails. Instead of them growing at that pace that they are supposed to grow, you will see them as if they are having stunted growth. They don't grow well, despite that they might be feeding well, yet it might be very difficult for them to grow well. So the second reason you must know is that you must make sure that the habitat is well built and properly ventilated, constructed in a way that the snail can actually thrive very, very, very well. So the third point, number 3 way that you can actually improve the growth of your snails is by maintaining cleanliness in your farm. You must regularly clean up the snail farm and food dishes, as this will actually help you to prevent build-up bacteria and parasites. Now, it is when you must have the snail, feed them, and the leftover food there, you leave them 2 days, you have not attended to them, those things are building, they are building up and they are building up. Before you know it, some bacteria from those few leftover food that they have remained, those remnant food, some bacteria will start forming and do what? They will form, and before you know it, disease will set in that your farm. So you must also try as much as possible to maintain cleanliness on a regular basis. Try as much as possible to clean your snail farm. For those of you that is actually practicing the intensive system, it's not easy. I understand. I do practice intensive system. I know that it is not easy, and that is why I keep telling you the truth, that I see intensive system is not actually for the lazy ones, and that is why a lot of person criticize it. A lot of person don't even want to go into it, because there is a lot of human labor needed in the intensive system. And God helps you if your snail is if your snail farm is very, very big. If it's big enough, then it means that a lot of work to be done, mostly in the cleaning aspect. It's not only also limited to those practicing intensive. Even if you are also practicing the extensive, which is the greenhouse, there is every need for you to maintain cleanliness in your greenhouse. You check the greenhouse, you check the farm as often as possible to take away those leftover food that the snail has left in that place. And not only because of the leftover feed, even the snails, they poop, they defecate. And once they defecate, you will see that the place will actually be messed up. Mostly for those of you that is actually practicing intensive, you find out that the pen itself will become messed up, and you cannot leave those things there. If you leave them there, it will actually affect their well-being. It will affect them, both in their growth. So you try as much as possible to remove those their feces. So doing this constantly, maintaining a very proper cleanliness in your farm will help to improve the growth of your snails. So the fourth one I'm actually going to be talking about is by providing the snails a hiding place. Yes, providing them a hiding place. Now the question will be, how do we actually provide the snails a hiding place? That is the reason for the mulching material you are putting in your pen. So don't think that those mulching is for fancy. I actually went to tutor someone. I went to train some persons on snail farming, and I was telling them that this thing is not actually for fancy. The reason why you don't actually see the snails outside during the daytime is because these things are here. And once these things are here, they will definitely go inside, go beneath it, and hide themselves. Understand it? So this is one of the ways you maintain and improve their growth. Provide them with those things you know that will help them to see where they can actually hide. For those of you that are into the greenhouse system, yes, the greenhouse system does not stop you from providing mulching in your greenhouse. As a matter of fact, it even help you to cover most of the surface of those ground that the crops did not actually cover well. I've been teaching this and I've been telling people, despite that you have planted most crops, despite that you have planted those dwarf plantain, banana, and the rest of them, there is still need that you can cut the dry ones and cover the surface of those places that are covered. It helps the snail to see where to hide. It helps them to see where to go and relax even when the weather is very, very harsh. So we must try as much as possible to provide them with what hiding place. And that is why enough crop is actually needed if you are using the greenhouse. I visited a greenhouse, and a whole greenhouse that is having about 2,000 or 1,000 thereabouts number of snails. You will not believe me that just few plantain was actually planted in that place. And I now recommended to the owner that we need to what? Get other crops and more this plantain planted in this greenhouse. Because if it's scanty, it's going to make the place always dry. It's going to make the place not to be shaded, so that the snails will see where they will hide on. So you must provide the snails a hiding place. So the last, which is the number 5 way you can improve the growth of your snail, but not the least, is to avoid overcrowding. By all means, try as much as possible to avoid overcrowding. Maintain good stocking density. Maintain good stocking density in your pen. If you know that you have constructed 200 capacity snail pen, for those of you that probably are using intensive system, please do not stock more than 200. As a matter of fact, if you have even constructed 200 capacity, it's even advisable that you stock, they say, 180, at least to give room for grazing and other things, to avoid the issue of is overcrowding or is not overcrowded. If you have built a greenhouse of 3,000 capacity, please do not stock more than 3,000. If there is any need for you to expand, you can expand or build more. But do not overcrowd your snail house. Please, very, very important. Because the more you overcrowd this snail house, the more is actually going to affect the well-being of the snails. It's actually going to bring about stress to the snails, and it will also lead to disease outbreak in your snail pen. So you don't really need to do what? To overcrowd your snail. Give them room. You know, the snail like moving up and down. They like moving from here to here, from here to here. And if they don't see the room to move around, they feel that they are being killed, and it will affect their growth, it will affect their well-being, and it will lead to mortality, it will lead to disease outbreak. So try as much as possible to maintain good stocking density in your snail farm. So if these 5 guidelines that I have actually mentioned here can actually be followed strictly and very, very closely, it will go a long way to help to improve, rapid improvement in the growth of your snails. So thank you once again for watching this video. Remember, if you have not subscribed to this channel, do well to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, drop your comments in the comment section. I'm actually going to be there to answer all your questions and inquiries. Thank you once again. See you in my next video. Bye for now.